All right. Hey, everybody. It's MrBookieboo and Heathersbricks. Thank you for joining us on Tuesday night.
Hi.
We have some exciting stuff tonight. We have our first guest that's going to be joining us shortly. And we have like Lego news. We got all kinds of cool stuff we want to talk about. But first, how are you doing, Heather?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's been a pretty good day, and Tuesday night's here already. I can't believe it. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been the weekend went by way too fast, and it has
Right.
been like crazy. And now all of a sudden, now that it's here, and we're it's Tuesday already, and then it's going to be like the weekends, hopefully soon, like in 3 days. It's pretty cool. So I'm excited. And I
Sure.
see Brian is just popping in right now, so I'm going to get him in here, and
Okay, terrific.
he's going to be joining us. Yeah.
How's it going?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
How's it going?
Hi.
It's going, it's going great. How is everything?
It's great. Yeah, very good. I'm trying to adjust my little tripod here. No,
Yeah,
it's going
yeah,
very
yeah.
good.
Very cool. Very good. We were just doing the intros and just saying hi and finding out how's your week going so far.
It's going good. Yeah, nothing super exciting. Haven't had a lot of build time this week, unfortunately, because of work.
Right.
But yeah, it's going good.
That is good. It's
Yeah.
good to hear. Good to hear. So why don't we I'm just catching up with the chat. We got a bunch of people joining us. Hey, everybody that's joining us. Lots of people in there. Lots of people are waiting ahead of time, which is really exciting. And this
Awesome.
is
That's
exciting
cool.
because it is our first time that we have a guest on. So we're really excited for that. So thank you for
Mhm.
taking the time to
Of
talk with us
course.
and join with us. And with that, I think we want to launch into some news and talk about we have a few exciting developments in the Lego world. First of all, we have now officially you can get your Chinese New Year sets, which I just got mine today. I was super excited about that.
Nice. That's awesome.
So as far as I know, I think they're back ordered already, but you can still order them on Lego.com. I don't know the availability on other sites, but I do know that like Walmart had actually the other one, the Story of Nyan, a little bit early. So if you might want to check around on those third-party sites if Lego's back ordered. I don't know. Availability may vary, but I was super excited to get this site. I can't wait to get it to fit into my Ninjago land. And actually, one thing I was just going to note on it real quick is that so you see like on the front how it's all set up and it's hard to see. I gotta like back up. So it has one configuration on the front, but when you look on the back of the box, you can actually it's designed like kind of semi-modular, so you can actually reconfigure it and move it around. So that it's kind of interchangeable. So if you have a different like design footprint that you want to put it in, you can actually put it to fit in that footprint. And then I will say I was a little ambitious before the show because I had a little bit of time. So I actually started building it, and it is a spectacular set. This is
Nice.
just one half of it, and the detail on it is really cool. It's almost 2,000 pieces, which I was like floored because I saw. I
Hmm.
mean, it's a good sized box, but when I saw the pictures, I was like, oh, it's like not a lot to it. But the level of detail in this thing is just amazing. And these little like bamboo trees in the back and stuff like that.
That is
This is
cool
pretty
stuff.
cool. Yeah. So
Great.
anyway, having said that, if you're able to get it, go to Lego.com, get that. They're amazing sets. The Chinese New Year sets are always like super popular. I remember back in the day when you couldn't get them in anywhere but the Asian market. Remember that, Heather? And
Right.
we had to go to great lengths to get those, and that was the first year of them to get them, and it was
Yeah.
crazy. But now
Hmm.
they're widely available, so take advantage and get that if you can. Now, Heather, you
All
had some
right.
other exciting news, right?
Well, okay, so if thanks to Emily Loves Lego, she sent me a memo that said on the website right now, some of us have been watching for some new sets coming out, and the long stem like tulips and roses sets are live online. So if you need to leave YouTube
Nice.
for a few minutes and order some, you can. That Valentine's brown bear is out as well as a cool thing in my wish list is the extra botanical accessories, and it comes with like some of the
Ah,
small white leaves, comes with a little mini tree, it comes with like the pine tree and stuff. So it has a couple brown fencing in it. So it's pretty kind of unique
Nice.
for only $3.99. So it's hit today, and I'm sure there are a whole lot more sets that have too. and the Ninjago City Gardens isn't up live yet, but it's on like officially the Lego site that it's coming soon, which is coming almost tomorrow. Tomorrow night at midnight,
tomorrow night at midnight, right? It should be available for VIPs. Now, you do have to be a VIP to get that early access. So make sure you sign up. It's free. You go on lego.com. It takes like 2 minutes. You give them your email address and you're in. And also the VIP program's cool because you get VIP points. You get like these limited exclusives. There's a few sets a year that usually have the early access that you can sign up for. And there's a few other little perks to the program. But if you're interested in that Ninjago City Gardens, tomorrow night is the night. So keep your eyes open for that. It's going to be exciting. And then what else did you got? Some other good stuff, right?
I thought so. It was kind of interesting to me. I'm always looking for like new Lego shirts and stuff like that, like new apparel, or anything actually that says Lego that I can get my hand on. So I kind of did some digging, and it wasn't too hard. But you know what? Levi has this Lego line, Lego apparel line or whatever.
Right.
And if you Google, well, not really Google, but if you search on, I shouldn't say Google, that's like such a generic term that we use too often. But when you search on the bar at lego.com and you type in Levi, then apparel comes up, which I was kind of disappointed because they're only children's sizes, like in the shirts and things that they offer, but they're pretty cool. So you can look at that. And then also I tried Adidas, and there were several categories of Adidas lines on lego.com. Their sneakers were all for juniors and infants only, but then they had bottoms and t-shirts for adults and children as well. They have infants, a whole infant section, accessories, which includes like hats and socks and different fun stuff. And then there was a sweatshirt line. So I was kind of impressed that you could like reap in VIP rewards when you buy your Lego and Adidas Levi wear. So I was kind of impressed with that.
Very impressive. That is cool.
Yeah,
that's fantastic news. That is really cool.
So.
And I know also, just real quick, there are like some rumors and things. And actually, we have in the chat that someone asked if we know if there's going to be a Marvel collectible minifigure line. Do we have any knowledge about that? I don't know.
Well, there is a big rumor going around right now about some summer sets, and Marvel Collector Minifigure Series is one of them. So we should be looking for a series with the set number 71031, maybe, because it's a rumor, but that it should be coming out possibly this summer. So the question will be, who's going to be included, right? What many figures do you want to see, and how many? Will they limit it to 12, or will they do like 16 or 20 or something like some of the special sets do?
Right.
So that's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, there's going to be there's some rumors about Star Wars sets, but maybe 4 of them coming out. Harry Potter.
Okay.
I mean, at least they're keeping that line alive. Jurassic World sets, and let's see, Speed Champions. You know what? I had missed out on a McLaren, and it looks like I might be able to find another one. Batman sets are still being, produced. For tons of Friends sets coming out this summer, like 18 or more, and many city sets. So yeah, lots of things to look forward to.
Stuff coming out. Yeah. This is great. We got a lot of fun stuff coming out. So yeah, people in the chat are giving some different comments on apparel. There's different sets coming out. We don't know. Yeah, so we got all kinds of stuff. And there's lots. Hey, Brian, there's lots of people from St. Louis in the chat.
Nice.
Did you invite all your friends?
I guess, yeah.
That's awesome. That is really cool. So without further ado, why don't we get our guest talking? Because he's got some really cool insights. He's got some great sets that I think or great creations that he's gonna share with us, and all kinds of good stuff. So Heather, you want to take it away?
Okay, so Brian, I think many of us are dying to know a little bit more about you yourself. What is it that you would like to tell us, your viewers, your fans, about you? Just maybe you. Like maybe you want to tell us and maybe you don't. It's okay.
Well, it's kind of it's strange to even hear that I have fans. I don't know. That's still like a new thing to me. So it's kind of strange. I don't know. I guess, first and foremost, I haven't actually been collecting that long. I've really only been collecting since mid to late October. And that was really when actually my daughter had gotten a friend's set gifted to her for her birthday. And that was the first time I had built a Lego set in 25 years. And man, after that, I was like, okay, we got to get another one. And then after that was another one. And then before I know it, this past year, I just kind of went a little maybe too far.
You
I
have like
probably
the
bought.
entire Friends line now.
No, I didn't buy. We do
I
have
know.
some friends that I got her for sure, but I went definitely on a spree for myself and got,
Good.
honestly, a lot of the sets I got were mostly for parts just to build out a collection. I do have some. I've got a
Okay.
couple of modulars that you can see up, behind me there. Got the diner and Parisian that I got at the end of 2018 and early 2019. Those were my two biggest sets that I'd gotten at the time. And then really, this past year, 2020, I bought quite a lot. I just started buying sets when they were on sale, mostly to part out. There's not a lot of sets that I'm not like a really big set collector, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't have the space to build a city. I wish I did. That would be really cool. But I'm kind of probably a little bit of the opposite, where I don't like to have a lot of sets on display collecting dust. It kind of drives me crazy to have to clean them all the time.
Right.
So I mostly focus on creating my own stuff, and honestly, I'm still pretty new at it. I'm really just thrilled at the response that I've gotten in the past couple of weeks. It's crazy.
Definitely. So I will say that you have a very, very good talent. I mean, the stuff that you've made, the toy factory, the winter toy factory is like stunning.
Thank
And
you. That's my favorite.
Yeah, that one is really cool. I mean, just the whole winter village like sets you have going. I'm looking at your Instagram right now. Just the bakery and the tavern is just, I mean, it's just really cool. Very creative.
Thank you.
I like the color schemes that you have in there. And so I think that kind of leads into my next question for you is, so tell us more about like how like you have you have a certain theme going here, but then what kind of themes are you into and what kind of mocks do you like creating if that's your thing?
Sure.
Go into tell us more about that.
Sure. Well, I'm definitely a big fan of architecture. I actually married an architect. My wife is an architect, so I definitely have a love and appreciation for architecture. I would love to keep building more modular style stuff for sure.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to go out on a limb, say I'm going to try to accomplish it this year, but I would like to actually build like a whole street of nothing but my own designs of modulars. I need to expand my collection a little bit further before I can do that, but that's definitely a future goal to do that. But I also like castle and anything medieval, probably some pirates stuff too. When I collected really young, it was mostly all like city sets and mostly smaller stuff. A lot of trucks and vehicles and a few planes. I did have a couple of bigger sets. One of them was I don't know if it was the first, but one of the first space shuttle sets that had the red grid structure with it, and it's a really highly sought after set.
I know that one.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a classic.
So I still got that actually at my parents' house. They've kept everything, luckily. So I can't wait to. Cool. My mom has finally said she's going to hand everything over. So.
Oh, nice.
We've got a lot of
going to be like
family.
reliving your childhood. That's going to be awesome. Yeah. That's really cool.
And then we had one of those first airports too. So.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Go ahead, Heather. Did you have?
No, it's so fantastic. Your mother's going to be under pressure now. You can tell her you announce it to everyone in the world on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she has told me this, so hopefully she holds her word. We'll see.
That's awesome. So tell us now, because you mentioned earlier, so you're buying sets. Like, how are you getting all your pieces? What have you discovered? What works well for you? You said you were buying sets to part them out. Have you gone to Bricklink yet? Have you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I found Bricklink quite a while ago. I get this question a lot actually, and I'm probably going to do a guide at some point as well because I get a lot of questions on this. There's really three main areas I kind of shop, and One, this past year, I went and got a lot of clearance sets just for basic stuff. But as you probably all know, you can't really control the kind of parts you get that way. So you get certain types of parts,
Right.
probably more stuff you don't need sometimes. So I don't remember when I found it, but it was probably about a year ago when I found Bricklink from another Instagram account, and I just kind of went nuts. And I buy a lot of stuff through Instagram, or excuse me, not Instagram, through Bricklink. So Bricklink is definitely one of my big sources. I'm going to do some guides on that at some point in the future for people that aren't familiar with that. Make a lot of wanted lists and then just search. And then the last one is, either online through Lego, through either the Pick a Brick for basic stuff or through Bricks and Pieces for the specialty stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And that kind of echoes like how Heather and I both, get stuff too, because it is a very, very common question that we get asked almost daily sometimes, it feels like. And yeah, I mean, Bricklink is just a phenomenal resource. It's a little intimidating at first, but if you just spend a little bit of time to familiarize yourself with it, it also is a very good research tool. Like I use that all the time, and people ask me, they'll message me like, hey, what's this piece? And what set did it come in? And I'm gotten to the point where I can pretty much figure it out within like 2 minutes on Bricklink, and then I'll send them I'll send them the link of the list of all the sets that had the piece in it, and it's just such a good resource. But it's also very easy to spend a lot of money there, so be careful.
Yes,
that's really cool. Now I think, if I'm not mistaken, you actually are going to show us some of your creations. Is that right?
Sure. Yeah. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can get this flipped around here. Where was the setting at? You said it's under
more.
You got the
should
camera.
Be more settings. Now the camera will just shut your camera off. You go to more settings, and then it's camera, and you should be able to. There you go.
I got it.
Something happened.
Let me try it. Yep. Let me see if I can get this to.
Yeah, and people in the chat are actually saying they would love a guide, Brian. So if you do a guide, that would be fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, people are Bricklink. 90% of the stuff on Bricklink. 9% is on Parting Out. Lego chess sets, Woodles. That Lego chess set was like an awesome parts pack, like no joke, because it's black, white, and like light bluish gray, and it's like I got one of those. I wish I would have bought like 20 of them because it has so many tiles and so many good little like pieces for mocks. It's fantastic. All right, so here we go. Wow. So what do we have here, Brian?
So this was the one that I started on first for the Winter Village line that I did. And it's actually modeled after a real house here in St. Louis. I keep calling it a house, but actually when it was built, it was a police station, believe it or not. And now it sits within a park called Lafayette Park. And so it's the Lafayette Park House is what they call it. And this is only honestly a fraction of the real house, of course. And I took some liberties with it. There is no greenhouse on the real house, so I added that just for some extra detail. But you can see, obviously, it's a really highly detailed building in real life, so that was definitely the goal, to try to replicate that. And the roof was certainly the hardest part of all. The real roof has a really accentuated curve to the roof. I couldn't really pull that off in a small way on this building, so I settled for a couple of angles to kind of mimic that. I think it turned out pretty good.
That is really cool. Yeah, and so this is based on a real building, like you say, and so did you have the pictures up looking at it as you're like building, and tell us, like, kind of walk us through your design process.
Well, in this one, because it was a little more complex and detailed, I started digitally with this one. Because I definitely needed to do a lot of Bricklink orders, unfortunately. So there was a lot of Bricklink orders placed for this one, because I didn't have much medium Nuket color at all when I began. And I also needed all these tan tiles as well. And so I used, I just started planning it out digitally, and I used an overlapping technique on the corners that was really coming from Alice Finch's book. Her book is fantastic.
Yes.
So I used some of her techniques for that. So all the corners are built with 2 stud snot bricks running up the side, with a few plates every 6 heights of brick to keep some stability. The other thing that was probably of note on this build was the green arched windows. That's a really rare part. So I
Yes.
chose to get that. I don't know why I chose to get that, but I did, and I ended up having to have windows shipped from everywhere all over the world to get those windows.
Yeah, that's really amazing though. I think it was worth the effort and the cost because the end result is spectacular. And this was your first mock that you made after you emerged from your dark ages. Is that right?
Really, yeah. I mean, I did small stuff this year, like some minifig habitats and things like that, but nothing
Hmm.
advanced really like this.
That's amazing. And does it have a full interior in it?
No, because of this one, because of the fact that I built like 4 different things, this one does not have an interior, so it's pretty
Oh,
much
okay, but it's hollow on the
shell now.
backsides. So
Yes,
you could add to it later though. That's fine. I'm
correct.
notorious for doing that. So I'll do builds like for example, like my job is Palace over my shoulder here. It's like 99% finished on the outside, but then when you flip it around, all the rooms are there, but there's not a lot going on inside yet. And I've kind of moved on to like some other projects. So totally understand there, totally cool. But that's really amazing. That's amazing. Now the format that you decided for that, like the size wise, what were you kind of following like the Winter Village modulars or something else?
Yeah, and this one really, I honestly just kind of went with whatever on this one, just because it
Okay,
was so detailed that I had to kind of keep
right.
the size down a little bit. And
Okay.
I actually started this on a base plate, but then moved it off because it was ending up to be a little bit smaller. It's
Hmm.
still probably, I don't know, 25 studs wide maybe. Um, so yeah, it's a little bit smaller, but nice. Still has some nice height to it. It's about as tall as the toy factory. And then added at the last part of it to add some more size to it because the house by itself would have been kind of small. I decided to add on this greenhouse.
Okay, that's
It's
fantastic. Sorry,
beautiful.
guys, I just lost my headset. My battery died. I don't know how that happened. I'm gonna go run and get my other earbud real quick. So Heather, you can.
No
I'll be
problem.
right back,
Yeah,
guys. Sorry.
that's terrific. That's okay.
And I
So,
haven't done this on all of my builds, but I'm trying to throw in a little Easter egg here and there. It's kind of fun. And people that were following me on my stories would probably know this, but there's actually a little nod to Frosty the snowman in here. Um,
oh, good.
with the white tile. It's hard to see with this light, but there's a little hat in there as if
Okay.
Frosty had melted. So
Oh, that's fun. That's perfect because he starts to play like in the movie. Yeah, he starts to
yeah,
melt
he,
within
he goes in
there.
the greenhouse and it's too warm and he melts. Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. Um, so, okay. So I know that you said that you started this one, you building digitally and then waiting forever, um,
Yeah.
on
Let's see if I
parts from
can.
all over the world. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's a fair question to ask you like how long it took you to build. So, that's a
No, that's
no-go
okay.
on that one.
Well, I started it in. That's a good thing about, I guess, Instagram, right? Because it's all documented since I put everything in my stories. So it started mid-October on that, and I finished it,
Okay.
I don't know, early December. So
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. I mean, it's gorgeous.
thank you.
Yes. You're
That is
welcome.
really, yeah. And the feedback in the chat is people love this build. It's really cool.
Right.
One of the questions is, do you have an estimate? I always get asked this, and it's really bad. But do you have an estimate on the number of pieces that you used for that build, roughly? Well, you might, because you did it in digital design. Now, did you? And also, my question is, did you use Lego Digital Designer or Eldra, or what did you
No, I
use?
use Bricklink Studio just because it's the most user friendly that I've found personally.
Okay.
And since they're now owned by Lego, they keep their part, inventory really updated. And it's also nice because if you're not familiar with Bricklink Studio, you can plug in your Bricklink account and it will automatically tell you, okay, this part doesn't come in this color, or it's a rare part or whatever. You can go straight to Bricklink and make your lists.
Okay.
But
Very
piece
cool.
count, I don't really know. I didn't make the full thing in digital. I was just playing out the beginning to get the footprint. But it's probably 2,000 pieces just because of all the tiles. There's a lot of tiles on
Wow.
this build. Yeah.
That is incredible.
So
That is
another
really incredible.
question, um, Mark Munger asks, are you planning to add any lights? Are you into any type of lighting up buildings or builds that you have?
Yes, I had planned fully to light all the buildings, and I just ran out of time. I actually bought some light kits and just didn't unfortunately get around to it. But
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, that's okay. Yeah, so that's gonna be fun. Are you gonna do you plan to just light your interiors, or you do the outer lighting as well, or?
mostly interior, but I did the lamp post I originally had here. I did have it lighted, but I
Mhm.
ended up taking it off for photography, and
Mhm.
I intended to do like candles in the windows.
That'll be
Um,
fun. Be
yeah.
quaint. Very nice.
Mhm.
Yeah. So two other questions is for you, Brian. Do you plan to do more iconic St. Louis builds?
You know, I had definitely thought about it. After doing this one, I think I would like to do that. There's a lot of I don't know if I'll try to accomplish. Um, I'll have to think about the list, but I definitely want to do more of the houses. We have a lot of beautiful French homes here in St. Louis.
Okay, that's great. And then also, do you plan on submitting any of your mocks to Lego Ideas? Ooh,
Oh
that's a
man.
good one. I think you
Um,
should. Some of these are really good.
I don't
Yeah.
know if this one I would just because it's so detailed but maybe if I could figure out a way to simplify it, this one I would. In its current state, they would just strip out all the detail probably, unfortunately.
Right, I was
Um,
gonna suggest that you don't have to
yeah,
worry about stripping it down because
that's
Yeah,
Lego
they
true.
will
do a
They'll just
good
do
probably
it
job
do
for
with
me.
that,
that, right?
simplify it for you.
That's true.
Based on
We
the
vote on
last,
elaborate builds that come up looking, yeah,
right?
pretty simple.
Based on the last couple of idea sets that came out, we
Yeah.
had the Pirates of Barracuda Bay, which looked nothing like the
Hmm.
Right,
submitted
the original
idea,
wreckage, yes.
right? And then the blacksmith shop as well. It's Lego doesn't have any
Yeah.
trouble like dumbing it down.
If you get
That's
a
really funny.
chance, go on Brickset because they recently did a whole article on it, and they did like
Oh,
15 or 20 sets from ideas, and they rated how close they were to the original, and none of them are.
that's terrific. That's fun to
That's
read
really
about.
funny. Woodles is telling you should build a St. Louis City Museum.
Oh wow,
Oh,
that would be that.
that is
That's
his
a
type of build, though, you know?
That's something that Woodles would build, I think. Woodles is
Right.
a
yes.
resident skyscraper
Well,
extraordinaire.
for
And that's
those that
something
aren't
I think he's gonna
familiar,
be more that's more in his wheelhouse, I think.
yes, it's a. If for those that aren't familiar, the St. Louis City Museum is basically there was a sculptor here. If you're not familiar, and he bought this old shoe factory. It's like I don't know, 9 stories or 11 stories tall. He bought this old shoe factory. It's still got the original spiral slides where they drop the shoe boxes and it would go all the way to the basement. And he basically he just went out and he found any scrap item he could find that was being recycled, and
Okay.
just covered the entire inside of this building. Like you walk in and there's broken tile mosaics covering every square inch of the
Wow.
entire factory, and you can literally there's caves that have been created, that you climb through. There's a bus on top of the roof of the building that hangs out over the building. You can go in the bus and actually walk out over the edge of the building and look out. It's an incredible thing. I don't know how you would even accomplish that in Lego.
Wow. That's really crazy. That's cool. Do you have okay, so here's another question for you, Brian.
Sure.
Great questions, guys. Thank you for all the comments and stuff in the chat. So do you have like the build instructions since you did most of this in design in brick, what was it? You said it was
Bricklink Studio. No, I
Yeah.
don't. For this one, this is the only one I did in digital, but I only
Okay.
did like really up to the first windows, and that was just purely to plan out, so I can start buying bricks and stuff.
Like the
Okay.
base and the structure. Mhm.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's actually a good point to bring up too, because I know there's people build in different ways and different formats. I know, like for me, I just free build, so I'll just have an idea in my head, if I'm basing it off of something, I'll pull up like pictures of like Jabba's Palace. I had like pictures of it up as I was kind of working, you know, on my laptop. And then it's just a matter. I just start building. I'll start working with stuff, and then hey, that's not right. Tear that part out, rebuild this section, build another area, and just kind of do that. And for me, you know, that's how I build. Other people do everything in Digital Designer, and then they print out their, you know, exact parts list, and then they just go at it from that angle. So there's so many different ways to build and enjoy, you know, the hobby. It's really cool. Yeah, Scruffy says instructions with Bricklink Studio are a big pain. I've actually never used Bricklink.
Yeah, they are.
I've used Lego Digital Designer, which is weird because the instructions, sometimes you'll get like pieces floating like in the air, and they're like, where in the world does this go? So I'm imagining it's kind of the same. So do you have, oh, there we go. I was going to say, do you have another set to show us?
Yes. Well, you were talking about, you know, free building, and that's what this one was. So completely different from the previous one. This one I just honestly started building and just ran with it. I knew I kind of wanted, well, I think it probably looks pretty obvious, but I was looking at a lot of medieval structures at this time from other Instagrammers, and that's probably a lot of the influence here, just on the style. But I started with the tavern, which is this half, and I just started building, just a total free build, didn't plan anything out, and it turned out pretty good.
Yeah,
this one also is mostly a shell. I did detail out the bakery just a little bit, with just a little bit of a scene in there, since it's got a big window that you can see through. And there's not a huge Easter egg in this one, but there's a little mouse hiding in the bakery.
Now, tell me you didn't part out a Diagon Alley, or is that?
Yes, I didn't part out a Diagon Alley, no, but I did purchase the windows. I had to have those windows. So
I was worried there for a minute. We were going to have some very angry Harry Potter fans.
No, but somebody did, because I got 2 windows, so somebody parted out a Diagon Alley.
Right, true.
That's
but
really
yeah,
cool.
I had to have those windows for this build. Definitely, as soon as I saw them, I'm like, oh, that would be perfect. And I wanted to have definitely some, you know, I didn't follow like the traditional winter village where the whole roof would be white, because I really wanted to have some roof that had some detail and color to it. And that's why you see a little less snow probably. And I used you know, teal for the color here, which shows through a little bit. Nice little chimney there, and then the bakery uses medium lavender, which is, I love that color so much.
That's great. It's a really nice effect. I like the half snow, or, you know, not like just total snowed in look. It really is nice because it really makes it pop with the different colors, and then you have different textures. It's a really great effect. I really like that.
Yeah, you have the dripping snow effect. I think it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, little snow mounds on the roof up here, and yep.
So we have a question that actually it's kind of similar. So your parts storage bins, how is that? I noticed you have like lots of little drawers. So do you have everything, each piece by color, or can you touch on that real quick?
Sure. No, I part out by element. To me, that's, if you really want to get serious about building mocks, I think that's probably the way to go, is to build out part out by element first, and then if you have enough color, break it out by that. I don't have enough color of everything to quite do that yet, but I do have it broken out mostly by single element. Sometimes I'll combine a couple if I have, you know, a small amount, but mostly by element first. I've been adding, you know, these drawers, part drawers for the main stuff, here and there, and I've got a couple more down there, bigger ones. And then, but I've still got a lot of sorting to do, to be honest.
The sorting is never ending, right, Heather?
Yeah.
I think we all are in that predicament as well. So many of us watching are just like, yeah, I have this tub of whatever. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so here's a more generic question for all of us, really. So
yes.
Christian Harry asks, when you guys buy parts on Bricklink, are you buying from certain sellers or whoever has the parts you need, or do you go by price? That's a really good question, because sometimes the sellers, you know, one seller won't have everything you need, or sometimes they will, but there may be a higher price. And so, like, for me personally, I kind of do it based on, I try to get as much as I can from one seller if their prices are reasonable, because if you go to too many different sellers, the problem you run into is the shipping costs. Because, you know, even like the cheapest flat rate shipping is like $6, you know? And so if you're buying from like 20 different, you know, sellers, you know, your shipping costs are in the hundreds of dollars. So you want to try to economize on that, but it can be difficult. But Bricklink does have a feature where you can make a wish list. And then based on that wish list, it will go out and find the seller that has, you know, either 100% or 98% or 70% of what you need at the best price. And then it will tell you, hey, this guy's got, you know, 82% of your parts for the best price. And so it makes it really easy for you to find stuff quickly. What about you guys?
Well, I think it depends a lot on what you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for 500 parts or more of one element, then you probably need to go with, you know, your cheaper option, because, you know, then you're probably looking at buying 1 or 2 different parts versus like 25 different parts. So it depends on what your wish list is. At the time that you're purchasing. But yeah, I think that all of us typically have like favorite Bricklink sellers, maybe that sell the same types of things that we look for. I know Mark looks for light bluish gray, like
Yes.
there's no tomorrow. So he's probably like got a little grocery shopping list set to the side that it's like, well, let's see, what else can I fill in on this order that you're always looking for. So that's always a good thing to have at hand as well. But I think kind of all of the above, you know, you have a particular seller or 3 or 4, something that you really like, maybe something closer to where you live, because you're chomping at the bit probably to have it delivered right away. And then, you know, also depends on price. But yeah, you don't want to buy from too many people for one project if you can help it. And I don't know if Brian has any other things to add to that. Kind of
Probably
touch
not
on
a whole
all of
lot
it.
different. It's about the same, where, you know, I'll try to find 2 or 3 or 4 good sellers that have like the basic stock that I need, but they ship super fast. You look for those; they'll have good prices, but that you can get it in like a couple of days. But then I'll have, like, you know, good vintage sellers marked for parts that are hard to find, things like that. Yeah, it's pretty much the same.
Definitely. And I'll just add into that. So yeah, be aware when you are like searching, so you can filter out. Like I filter by US sellers only, because like, you know, then like internationally the price can get really crazy unless it's some super rare part and only some guy in Germany has it. But you can filter that way. But then also, that Heather was saying, so I actually have a seller that lives just in the next town over from me, and he has a pretty substantial Bricklink shop. So that's like my local Lego dealer. So if I need it like super fast, like I'll buy from them and I'll get it like usually like the next day or 2 days later. So you can definitely like look, you know, where they're at and figure out and get things quicker that way as well. Yeah, no, that's good stuff. That's really good. And Woodle says stop buying his tiles. That's really funny. Any favorite Bricklink sellers that you recommend? Ooh, that's an interesting question. I mean, I think for me, it's hard to say, because like when I go out, I tend to clear out Bricklink sellers of like certain colors or parts. So I don't have it's hard for me to say. I mean, I do have some that I regularly buy from, but it just depends on what you're looking for. You know what I mean? I mean, there's some like superstores out there where it seems like they have everything. But at the end of the day, it comes down to like kind of what you're working on and what you want to do.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So, somebody says, oh, they all want us to share our favorite Bricklink sellers now. And Shai wants you to also let him know who you're buying from, since he's in your vicinity. And I'm kind of wondering if any of us are going to share those, because like Woodle's having problem buying tile, you'll probably have problems buying light bluish gray pieces too if we start sharing.
For a while, like the burps were like, there was a run on burps because I started doing my mountains, which
and everyone wanted to.
Yeah, and everyone started wanting to do mountains. And so there was no burps on Bricklink for like 6 months. You couldn't get them. And then Lego Bricks and Pieces was sold out of them. So you were like double, like there was no burps in the world. But now the supply has gotten better now, because Bricks and Pieces has them almost regularly in stock.
Right.
I just wanted to touch on, I wanted to back up just a little bit because someone else had mentioned when talking about sorting that, just to reiterate, it really comes down to your own personal style.
Mhm.
So like Brian, for example, sorts by element and has it broken down like really intricately and neatly, versus like for me, for example, I sort by color because for me, it's the way my brain just works.
Mhm.
And so it's really just coming up with a system that works well for you and what you have available and what you're trying to accomplish. I know like mosaics, it's like a whole different animal than than something else, than like doing like giant mountains. There's all different ways you can do it, and it just comes down to like what works best for you. And I know Heather's kind of like a hybrid. Like you do stuff by color, you do stuff by type, and it's
Well,
just
actually, I do it. Yeah, I do like Brian does. It's all of my elements are the same, and then if I only have a few of each that maybe could be combined, I do that. But if I have too many of the one color of an element, then it gets its own separate drawer. Yeah, because it's just so much easier for me to, if I was building a mock and I needed a corner brick, and I can't dig through the color that I have or whatever, I just know where a corner brick is. I'll just stick like a different color in there until I order one, and see how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Totally.
yeah, I find that helpful. But I'm dying to know if I've seen another addition to this build that you just shared with us. Do you have the one you're showing right now, Brian? Did you name this something? You said it's a bakery, but do you have a name for it? Because I know you said the
Not really a
Lafayette
name.
house.
Yeah, we
Okay.
just call it the bakery and tavern, with this being the bakery.
Okay.
So do you have anything that accompanies the bakery and the tavern?
Maybe.
Uh,
Best for last. So yeah, the toy
fantastic.
factory.
Ta-da!
I'll see if I can get all this in camera here. It's about as
I
big
think
as a modular,
everyone's
so
standing and applauding right now. I'm guessing that. I want
that is
to.
spectacular. Yeah, that one I like them all, but that one is the one that like initially caught my eye, and I was just like, wow, that is incredible. Yeah. So tell us about this one.
So yeah, this is my favorite for a lot of reasons. This probably mostly because it's the first building where, like, I don't know, just like a light bulb went off. Like I'm like, I want to build a toy factory, and it involves toy soldiers. Because I had found one on Bricklink, and I ended up buying a second one, and I'm like, I'm just gonna run with it, and I knew the color and everything like immediately. So it's really a build that just came really quickly, and honestly, the whole build altogether came pretty quickly. There's maybe, I don't know, 10 hours in it. I don't know.
Wow.
So it really just came together quick, because I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And one of the first things that I created was the sign, actually. That was a lot of the inspiration. I'll see if I can raise my camera here.
Yeah, it's three-dimensional. It's so nice.
Yeah, that was really, that toy soldier came into play with a lot of it, but that sign was really what I created first. And it's actually all studs upside down, because of the way the head was built. It's kind of hard to see here. I don't know if you can tell or not, but just because of the way there's a snot brick behind here, and then because of the way I had these 3 stud plates with the rounded corner position that had to be upside down. It's just the way it looked the best, and then it kind of just came together from there.
Love it.
That is really cool. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, the feedback in the chat is like, wow, it's amazing.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
10
and so these
hours.
they all kind of link together, right? So the idea is you're going to do you want to eventually do a whole street of them. So how do they typically?
So I didn't build on the specific, modular system, but it's basically the same thing. It's just shortened. So it joins together with the same thing a modular would.
Okay. That's fantastic. That's really cool.
Right.
Yep.
And so, all right. So, a question I have for you, Brian.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. Well, do you have like a thought on what other buildings you're planning or you would like to plan for this street? Do you have a number in mind? Do you have you already say you have the bakery and the tavern and the toy shop. Are you thinking like, oh, I need to do a restaurant or a market or anything like that? Or are you going to use some more buildings around your area?
Sure. Well, I mean, it's probably going to break a lot of people's hearts, but these probably will not stay together forever. um,
No.
so, well, hang on, hang on. So, the Lafayette Park House will definitely come apart at some point. I may actually revisit that one and do a larger version of it. So when I talk about how I'm going to build a street, I'm really talking about starting over, like from scratch. These are just my winter sets that I did. So the Lafayette Park House will probably come apart. I'll leave it up for a few months, but and then the Baker and Tavern. This one has a little bit different plan. It probably will come, disassembled at some point, but I'm going to try to document this one completely in digital first. Um, because I love this one so much, I'll probably make this like the winter build every year and keep expanding it. So like next year, I'd like to take this factory and actually expand it, like, I don't know, 4 base plates instead of 1.
Oh wow, that's amazing! Wow, very cool.
That's neat.
That is really cool.
But yeah,
So
this
then
is one of the few that did a full interior as well. So
okay. So you said so the winter village is going to kind of eventually phase out. So then you're just like regular like days or regular kind of city is what's next on the workbench for
well, I
you.
don't know. That's not next on the. That's my big project. What's next is on the bench though is some forest men stuff I'd like to do.
Okay.
I never got to own any forest men when I was a kid. We never had any of those sets, and I just personally, that's probably my favorite theme of all, and just really love that theme altogether. I did one small build you saw already on Instagram, but that was really just kind of a practice for some landscaping and stuff to do some larger forest men stuff. So that's probably what's next. I'm sure I'll do some smaller stuff in between here and there, but yeah, larger forest men. But the street idea, that's really just an idea at this point, to be honest.
Okay.
It's a bigger goal for like coming years, probably.
Definitely. So, and that's actually this is a good point to give a little plug for Brian. So if you're not already following him, shame on you. But if by chance you're not, head over to Instagram. He's Stlbrickco. So it's STL brick and then CO, all one word. And I actually see the forest men build on there. I'm looking at it right now. And I really like the tree technique with the lily pads. That's a pretty cool technique that you did with that. Now, how are those all connected? Oh, I see how you did it. Okay, I'm looking at it. I see you used a leaf, and they're just sitting on top of the leaf. Is that right?
Yeah. So I was just kind of practicing with a different tree style. I had these dark brown arches, so that was kind of the main goal of that build. And really, this one I just built it quick because I really enjoyed all these like botanical and the bonsai set that just came out. I love the bonsai, and so that kind of just inspired this one, and it came together pretty quick. Utilizing those dark brown arches and put some nice roots, kind of throughout the groundwork there.
That turned out really good. So Brick Princess actually has a question for all of us, and Brian's already kind of answered it. So do we keep sets that we've built, or do we part them out? So Brian, sounds like you're long term, you're parting stuff out. Nothing's permanent in your world, it seems like, right? Or very little.
Not yet. I just don't have a big enough collection yet to do that. Like for the toy factory, I used almost every single dark red brick that I have.
Yeah, sure. Right. What about you, Heather? So
when I build a mock, it's mainly for my display, either for a show or in my city. And so as of today, if I build a creation on my own and it's successful, then I keep it together. And I think with sets, sometimes I'll purchase a set just for parts or because it's a cute little build and I don't plan to keep it in the city. And I'll most of the time either throw it in a drawer until I need the parts, like it's built, or I'll part it out right away and then just hope I never want it back. How about you?
And then, so for me, I mean, if it's a modular, I try to keep the modulars, the official ones, all together pretty much, because to me, that's what I collect, that's what I enjoy. If it's something that I really like my UCS Millennium Falcon, or certain Ninjago sets or things like. I'll keep things intact, because I'm always adding to the city. But if it's mocks, mocks I tend to keep. But my problem is that I'm never happy with the mock, and so I'm always rebuilding them. So like like Jabba's Palace, it's like the third version of it that I've rebuilt. It's just something but that's part of the fun for me, is just to keep rebuilding them and modifying them, making them better, and doing stuff like that. So for me, it's it's kind of a mix. It really depends on what it is that I'm doing. But that's a really good question. So,
Right.
Brian, do you collect minifigures?
When I first started collecting, I wasn't all that into them, but I've started to pick up a lot more lately. I'm still not like a huge. I don't try to collect all the series since I'm so far behind, but I've been picking up a lot more older figs lately, actually, like Castle stuff.
Oh, so you're the one that's been buying all those.
Right. Yeah.
That's funny. I'm hopeful now that we have that blacksmith shop. I'm really hopeful that maybe that's like a tease that maybe we're going to get some more Black Falcon sets. I don't know.
Hope so.
It could just be a one-off, but they did print those really nice torsos. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that maybe we'll get a surprise castle wave at some point in the near future. But you never know.
That would be fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
So do you have any suggestions for us on mock building, on possibly how to begin the process of starting to build a mock? We do know that you did build the Lafayette house. You began digitally, but do you draw out, your thoughts, or do you write them down? Do you take pictures of things? How do you start? What's your process?
Yeah, a little, kind of a little bit of everything that you just mentioned. Since I, am from the background of design and product design, I do sketch some things. I've tried to share some of that in the past. I plan on trying to do that more, actually. So sometimes I'll sketch. Honestly, a lot of it I'll just tinker and free build, and then I'll say, okay, I'm going to run with this, or I need to change this, and I'll just start building. But there's a lot of times where I'll kind of pull up, Bricklink Studio real quick. It's a very fast, easy to build in that system, and I'll just do some planning in there. So that's kind of the way I get started. Other than that, for people that are newer, I would say, do yourself a favor, pick up some books. There's lots of good ones out there. I can't remember honestly the author's name now, but there's one, I think it's like Lego City Neighborhood or something, and he runs through all the basic stuff like the modular system, the footprint. That's a good one to have. There's a couple of those actually.
Yeah, definitely. There are some good ones. And just to add on to that, it really depends. Like for me, it depends what I'm trying to build. Yeah, oh, there it is. She's got it. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, it's Jason Niles or Lyles. Yeah, this is one of them. He has a couple of them out. So, yeah, these are fantastic books.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, I'll like I say, if it's something that I'm trying to recreate from a movie or from somewhere, I'll look at the the reference material. If it's I get inspiration from other like designers like Brian or Woodles or numerous other people that have amazing cities out there or buildings or whatever, and I'll just look at those and I'll look at the different design elements and incorporate those into my own work. And it's just this whole just figuring out what it is you want to do and looking around and getting ideas and then kind of formulating your plan. Sometimes I'll draw things out. Like I tend to draw when I rebuild my city, which I keep rearranging everything. My city is always evolving. And so when I do major revisions of the city, like when I basically tear down the whole thing, I'll map it out on graphing paper. I'll draw the grids with and I'll have 32 by 32 squares, on graph paper. And then I'll start laying out modulars and getting stuff all set up. Oh, wow. What do we have there? That's a surprise one.
So I did do a train. It didn't get a lot of attention, and I didn't really show it off a lot. But I also did do a train. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought there.
Hey, no, that's fantastic.
We like distractions. It's fine.
Yeah, hey, you got right to my soft spot. Soft spot for trains.
Nice. Well, this one is really built off the Hogwarts Express model. It's honestly pretty much identical, other than I modified this cab. I moved forward 2 studs and then did some different technique with the window to flip it sideways, and then incorporating the red and dark green color scheme.
Mm-hmm. That's really nice. That turned out really good. Now, is that just it's the locomotive and the tender? Oh, there's more. It's going.
Yeah, so I did do I did a tender box, and it is powered, so the train does
That's
fully
great.
function. And different than the Hogwarts as well, I did all magnetic connections as well. And if anybody knows, these red wheels are unfortunately not cheap, but so that was an investment. And I did a little detail on the coal.
That's
and
great.
actually the button's hidden completely, so the button is actually underneath. And you'll see it actually. There's a trans black brick there for the LED to shine through.
Oh, really cool. That's fantastic. Now, is that motorized?
Yes, fully motorized.
Excellent. That's really cool. So just to show you, for example, this is like the last version of the city before it actually became the city. You can kind of see how I graphed it. This isn't even the full version of it. But this is just an example of how I just sit with graph paper and just start doodling and sketching out ideas. And this was when the mountain idea really started to come to fruition for me. Was, I just kind of decided, hey, in the background, because I have, all this wall space that's usually lost when you're designing a city. It's usually, it ends up, the city's down low, your city's all down in this area. And then like you lose, what's above. So for me, I said, well, why don't I build some mountains? And for me, that's where I really started to, like, that was kind of the hook for the design element, was the mountain. And then from there, everything else just started to kind of fall into place all around me. And I knew I wanted the U shape because of the unique space in the room. And that's how it ended up kind of coming to be. So there's, it's really just experimenting and just having fun with what you have and figuring out what works best for you, and just, just kind of going from there and bounce ideas off of people too. I mean, the Lego community Definitely. Is wonderful. People are so helpful, and, they just want to help, and they want to offer ideas and, give you advice and stuff. And so ask your fellow AFOLs out there what they think, any ideas, and just have fun with it. That's the best advice that I can give with this is, it's a hobby.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So are you up, Brian, for displaying in shows when they start back up?
Yeah, no one's asked me that. I would actually totally do that. It would be fun.
That's great. Okay,
That's
great. Cool. Especially like your Lafayette house, especially like local somewhere there. You can also contact museums and libraries and different things like that to see if they would want to display at least your St. Louis sets too. But That's everything you've done is great. Yeah, so be wonderful to see definitely. In person.
Yeah. So there is. Yeah. Okay. That's really cool. Yeah. Definitely the shows are something. That's something I want to start to go to, because I've actually been to a Lego show once they start back up. So I have that in my plans as well, to start going, and maybe even eventually like start displaying. Now Heather has her amazing beach, which she's taken to have it on display at shows, which is really cool. So she has some unique insight into that whole show process and stuff.
Yeah, it's well, the show that I attended and displayed in was a small fundraiser show, local. So it was locally done, and it was a great first show. We had a wonderful turnout, and it was a really good experience for me to learn how to like set things up and tear them down. It was just one day, but yeah, there's hope for Brick World coming to Indianapolis in March, and so I'm hoping to get that displayed there and then leave it up for more than one day, and that would be kind of exciting to see how that works. It is nerve-wracking and a little it brings a little anxiety to me to figure out how to do that too, but my display isn't super large. It just fits on a 6-foot table, so it's not too intense to tear down and put back together. But yeah, that's putting a modular or some type of couple few mocks would be so much better than like a whole 18 base plate display. I think would be a little better. So that won't be as intense, Brian. So don't be intimidated.
Oh, thanks.
Right.
That's really
Right.
cool. Now, Brian, you also have some, due to your profession in real life and the non-Lego side, you actually have some unique perspectives. And I know if you guys were following him, he did like a Q&A and had some really unique perspectives due to your involvement with your career into how, you know, just different things with Lego and things like that in general. And I know the one question that he answered for me, because I've always wanted to know, but maybe you can answer it again for the everyone that's watching real quick, is what is up with the brittle brown? It drives me nuts every time I work with brown. I break a brick every time.
Yeah. So there's probably, the short answer is I don't officially know, to be honest, because I didn't work with Lego on that or anything like that. But just with my background in plastics, I do work for a plastics company who will remain nameless since they're a publicly traded company.
Right.
But colorant is, I kind of talked about it, and all these things are on my stories that kind of recap it a little bit. But basically, anytime you add, like ABS in its natural state is like a milky white. It's very plain. So in order to color it, you have to inject a lot of color depending on what color it is. Reds are a lot of color loading. And so anytime you're adding something like that, it's considered an additive. And anytime you add an additive, you have to offset it with something else. So in the case of reddish brown, because of the richness of that color, you probably have to add a significant amount of colorant. And my guess is whoever their supplier was at the time didn't compensate for that, because when you load it that high, it does cause brittleness. So you have to compensate by adding other additives to balance that out. That would be my guess.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, because it's only that, well, that color and like dark red. Dark red has that problem. Ironically, red doesn't seem to have that trouble, but I don't really work in red that much.
Yeah.
But it's like the dark red, reddish brown. I don't know if there's any other ones like that. But yeah, it's really, that's really an interesting insight. Yeah, very cool. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Of course.
So does anyone that's watching, if you guys have other questions or comments for Brian, let us know. Otherwise, let's see. People are, and Heather's chatting. Good. Awesome.
I'm like, I'm just going
really cool.
for it.
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah. Dark blue is a little brittle too. It seems like. Yeah. Maybe because it's that rich color, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, and dark green too. I've actually snapped some dark green plates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any of those darker, richer colors.
Those darker, richer colors. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Old blue, Old blue has some issues. Dark, so everyone say, we'd all have those kind of issues with that. And so Christian asked, Brian, it seems to me you work in the engineering field.
Well, I kind of do. My background is industrial design, but I manage a global product design team as part of this plastics company, and I have a team of engineers that works for me. And just because of my background with plastics, I'm talking to other engineers all throughout our company, engineers at the customers that we work with all the time. So I definitely have a lot of involvement in it, and as well as even speaking to material scientists that work at our company pretty regularly.
Definitely. Now, another question for you is: are you part of a lug group in St. Louis, or do you plan on joining one?
Are those people on right now watching?
Yeah, right. I don't know. Are you...
No, I actually do. I would like to join one. Probably the biggest hurdle for me the past year has been just time. I'm sure for a lot of people with COVID. I've got young kids who haven't been in school, a little bit of hybrid, but so I would love to join a lug. Hopefully time will permit. I know that our local chapter has a meeting this Saturday, and I do plan on trying to do that. Plus I need that lug bulk desperately to help save money and get a lot of pieces.
Yeah, lug bulk is a good thing. Now Heather's a part of her local lug, and has had some good experiences with that.
Yeah, our lug actually is meeting virtually, and you actually can attend in person. We social distance, and we meet once a month. So we've opened up the virtual meetings for unlimited time. I think that it will always be an option now for us, so that if someone's from a further area and they would like to attend, then they can do that too. And it, of course, joining live and in person is always more exciting, because you can actually, converse with each other, and people bring some of the mocks that they've built or something that they're working on. And sometimes we even have like build races, build projects, like little mini sessions real quick before or after a meeting. And it's kind of fun. So, it's just, it's strange that you will be like, oh, there are actually other people who love Lego just as much as I do, right in my same city. So it's fantastic. But it's fun when you can display and build together, or just display together at a show and different things like that too. So yeah, I encourage you to seek out and attempt to, try to join something. It's really nice.
So here's a good question, kind of for everyone. Is there any Holy Grail Lego sets that you would like, that are like, what's your to get? Like, what would be your, that you missed out on either as a child, maybe some Forest Men sets for you, Brian, or like what's your Holy Grail?
Oh, well, it would be the Forest Men for sure. I had zero, Forest Men or Castle really all. I didn't have any Castle sets, so that would be my Holy Grail for sure.
Okay, that's good. Heather, how about you?
I really love the Forest Men sets, so I have some minifigures, but I don't really have any of the Forest Men sets as a whole. I do have all of the Western sets, which I'm really proud of. I love them. I need to start to display them more. Cool. And I find that they're pretty not as common as, like other people collecting like Forest Men or other pirate sets and stuff. I would also like to probably pick up a few more of the pirates, the Islanders group. I did just pick up a really large set not long ago, and so I'm just kind of working on some of those. What about you, Mark? Is there a
well for me, everyone knows it's Cafe Corner, because I missed that one, so that's the only module that I'm missing. And I keep hoping in vain that Lego might re-release it like they did those Winter Village sets at some point. I don't know that that'll ever happen at this point. And at this point, honestly, I'm seeing people come out with some really cool, like, designs that are in the same spirit of Cafe Corner, but using the modern elements. And to me, they look even better than the original. But for me, it's just, for the completionist in me, it's like that would be the one set that I really wish that I had. And then of course the classic Castle stuff I love, which I've been very lucky in recent years in getting some of those old sets and having those, to cherish. I always wanted Black Falcon's Fortress, and I was able to get that last year, which was really awesome. Nice. And, just things like that. But, it just kind of depends. And then when I don't have it or I can't get it, I just build my own. Like I built my own, my favorite set as a kid that I had was Eldorado's Fortress from the Pirate line. I played with that set for just hours and hours. And unfortunately, I lost that. And when I went away to college and my parents got rid of stuff, it got lost. And so I got tired of figuring out, I'm never going to buy one on the aftermarket. So I just built my own using modern pieces and made it better than the original. And so that's just, there's things like that. You can always do that with, you can always recreate things if you want as well. So there's lots of good stuff like that. Yeah, and then in the St. Louis, so there is a St. Louis chapter, Brian, just so you know. Jay Rugster says, and they do a big display every year as well. So you might want to check it out. And for those of you that are watching, you're wondering, well, how do I find a lug in my area? So just search on your town, or if you're in a small town, whatever the closest big town is, and see what comes up, and you'll be surprised at what comes up, and you'll be surprised at how many Lego fans are out there in the world. It's huge. I mean, it's absolutely amazing how many people are, and there's a lot of closeted Lego fans that are, kind of ashamed of their hobby, and they haven't just embraced it and come out and saying, I'm an adult fan of Lego. And it's, we're slowly trying to get rid of that stigma with it and trying to say, hey, there's this huge community online and in person in your local areas that are just so, welcoming and want to interact with you, and they want to see your creations because like you have these amazing creations. And I'm so glad that and this is actually probably a good question to maybe close out with, is what you decided you wanted to build some of these things, but what was the impetus for you to post it and share it.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly, definitely what got me started on Instagram was just after the lockdown. Yeah, I was home all the time and collecting all these Legos. So I'm like, why not? I'll start an Instagram account. So I started that, I think, in late April. And honestly, it was a lot of fun to connect with everybody in the community and just realize like how many people are doing the same thing. And it's a blast to talk with everybody all the time. And yeah. So
Definitely, it's really cool. That's fantastic. So, with that, I think we're probably at a good point to wrap things up. Wouldn't you say? Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us, Brian. This was fantastic.
Absolutely.
And you're an amazing builder. I sincerely hope you continue to share with us online all the progress that you're doing. And we'd love to have you back at some point in the future when you have some new creations to share your latest builds and stuff.
I would love that.
Yeah. I know I speak for probably many of us in the chat. We're so glad that you did take the step to post your stuff and share your creations with us because they are amazing and it's really incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm honored, blown away.
This was really fun. You have fantastic stories to share and builds to show. So thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. So with that, thank you guys very much for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you. The viewers, you guys are inspire us to do this. And it's really, it's really great. Again, it's all about sharing and interacting with each other and having fun and, learning things. And I mean, that's, it brings me such joy to see all these people coming together and just sharing our love for this hobby. So thank you guys. And we will be back soon, probably next Tuesday, I'm guessing, with another show. So thank you guys. Take care and have a great week and happy building.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
See you later.
See ya.